Hello, this is Fred Wankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago. In this edition, I'd like to start out by thanking our viewers because in the 7 months we've been recording, for the first time, this last video that we did 4 days ago became by far the most viewed edition we've ever had. It is so important to me because it's not because of anything I really think I did differently. It's simply because so many people who viewed the video went on to share it with so many more people. And as I speak to you, with that video, we have gone over the 10,000 mark of viewers on YouTube. The highest we ever did before that was 700 and something. Thank you, and we really appreciate you. Now to today's episode. Today I want to talk about what I call the 3 R's that the youth in Nigeria need to focus on as they work towards the 2023 elections. By 3 R's, I mean redefine, rekindle, and remember. You have the famous hashtag Redefine Nigeria. Redefine Nigeria in terms of redefine the power base. I'm not one of those who believe the older generation should just hand power over to the youth. But I also believe that the youth in Nigeria are highly qualified people. And it's time for them to start coming into critical positions in Nigeria, not as special assistants, I mean as ministers, not as ambassadors to Burkina Faso, but ambassadors to the United States and Great Britain. And I'm talking Nigerians 50 and under, 45 years and old. These young people in Nigeria are doing very big things. Then we talk about rekindling. A few years ago, you started a movement that captured Nigerians all over the world. As a matter of fact, captured Africans in every African country where people are being subjected to hardships. It is the End SARS movement. As you think of 2023, you need to rekindle the spirit of End SARS. And you also need to make sure you never forget the fact that the chief administrator of the reason why you have no jobs was in a foreign country where he was being interviewed by a major TV station. And he said that Nigeria's youth are lazy. You should remember, quote unquote, Nigeria youth are lazy as you prepare for 2023. I say all that to say that 2023 is something you should take very seriously. However, you should also remember that 2023 should not be about tribalism. I bring this up because in my last edition, I got a lot of comments, about 80-something comments. About 90 to 95% of them were singing my praises about my video. I truly appreciate them. But I must tell you that I even appreciate more the 5% who did not agree with me. And I listened to them and I learned from what they said. But the one that caught my attention is one that said something to the effect is, down on Peter Obi, Showore is the man. And it's funny because that's how Nigerians tend to address issues. He said that to dampen the spirit of my video, and he actually uplifted me with that comment. The reason being that my response to him was, young man, Showore is a good man, and Peter Obi is a good man. We don't have to pick and choose. Showore and Peter Obi can work together to build the Nigeria that you and I are looking for, because both of them have the interest of Nigeria at heart. And that's how we should approach every candidate in this race. It's not about which one we hate. It's about selling our own candidate. Let me tell you a little story about Showore, and you'll see why that comment was so important to me. Showore is somebody who, by default, has taken a very special place in my heart. The reason being that besides the fact that I follow Showore and I like what he's talking about Nigeria and what needs to be fixed, but I lost a sister in 2019, August 2019. And every time I see Showore on the news or read something about it or watch a video on him, I think about my sister. The reason being that less than 24 hours before my sister passed away, we exchanged WhatsApp messages. She initiated it. And what she was telling me is, have you been following the news on Showore? It's really so unfair that he's locked away and his people don't seem to be coming to his rescue. By his people, she meant the elders of Yoruba land. And I responded to her, I said, I don't think it's that his people don't want to come to his rescue. I think what it is that Showore can be a very fiery orator, and he can be very blunt in the things he says in a society where you have to be careful how you say things that relate to elders. And he may have said a few things that rubbed the elders the wrong way. But I agree with you, they really need to do something about it. And her response to me was, yes, he may have said some things wrong, but I think it's time to forgive. What he's saying at this time is in the interest of Nigeria, and people need to come to his rescue. Those were the last words I read or heard from my sister. So when you bring up Showore, it's a topic that's very dear to me. And Showore's candidacy is one that I wish a lot of luck. If Showore becomes president of Nigeria, you have a fan. I am with him. I just happened in 2023 to have thrown my support behind Peter Obi. With that said, talking about Peter Obi and talking about why he should be president, like I said in my last video, I'm not one of those who think he should be president because of the region he comes from. However, I'd like you to hear a soundbite from Dele Farotimi. And Dele Farotimi, for me, has emerged as the most objective, outspoken socio-political commentator in Nigeria. He's an equal opportunity criticizer. He hits Igbos hard when Igbos are wrong. He hits Yorubas, his own tribe, hard when Yorubas are wrong. He hits Hausas hard when they are wrong. And he's quick to tell you the most important fact about Nigeria, that it's not about Fulani or Yoruba or Igbo, it's about a cabal. And that's what I preach. It's not about Igbos, it's not about Yorubas, it's not about Fulanis. It's a cabal that we all need to get rid of. I want you to hear this soundbite about what Dele Farotimi has to say about the need, if we need equity, justice, and fairness in 2023, why he thinks an Igbo person should be given a chance. Give him a listen, and I'll follow up and give you the rest of my thoughts on the other side of the presentation. Just give him a listen.
Let me get this perspective from you. Some couple of weeks back, certain sections of the country, and groups and individuals came together to have the Greater Nigerian Conference. And there was a resounding call for a southeastern presidency. We would like to get your response to this. Is it time, based on justice, fairness, and equity, for a southeastern presidency?
Let's get this clear. The only reason I am not out there campaigning to be the president of Nigeria today is because I believe that it is the turn of Ndi Igbo to be president of Nigeria. When I say I believe it is the turn of Ndi Igbo, number one, it is a painful statement for me to make, because in making that statement, I feel myself reduced to start dealing with tribes, ethnicities, ethno-religious sentiments. But I am left with no choice, because that is what Nigeria has reduced me to. In 1999, based on the grievances of the tribes from where I come, the Yorubas, Nigeria zoned the presidency to the southern part of Nigeria. I didn't read the history, I was there. I was part of the struggle for June 12th. I was still a student. And I knew I lived the history leading up to 1999. So it was a decision taken by the so-called owners of Nigeria to zone power to the south, and more specifically, they micro-zoned to the southwest. The choice of the Yorubas was definitely not Olusegun Obasanjo. We didn't want him. He lost the election in his polling booth. I doubt that he had up to 5% of the votes in his own local government. That was how much we reviled him. We knew him for what he was. We considered him a Leki of the North, and we rightly rejected him. But it didn't matter. Every other part of Nigeria voted for him, and he became the president of Nigeria in 1999. In 2007, after the failure of Obasanjo's third term agenda, power was zoned back to the north, and it went to the northwest, I believe. Yes, it went to Yaradua. The story of whether Obasanjo was aware of his e-health or not, that's another story for another day. But it went to the north because it was zoned to the north. In fact, there is a legend of how Odili was persuaded to withdraw from the primaries. So you are dealing with a situation where, as at 2007, power was ceded by zoning to the north. Unfortunately, Yar'Adua died when it pleased God to take him. May God rest his soul. And Jonathan happened on Nigeria. Jonathan spent a term in his own right, and then power went back to the north. And he's been in the north for the last 7 years. Now, by rotation, that power, and by equity, is due back in the south. Now, if this power now comes back to the south, there are three parts of the south. You've got the southwest, you've got the southeast, you've got the south-south. Southwest have been president for 8 years, has been VP for 7 years. South-south has been VP for 2 years, president for 6 years. Southeast, zilch, nada. So where is the equity in anyone in the south talking about power coming to them outside of the southeast? Now, let us be clear about something. This is enlightened, selfish interest. It's not coming out of a love for Indigbo alone. I love my Indigbo brethren, but this is not just out of love for Indigbo. This is about the fact that what you tolerate is what becomes a culture. It is simply a matter of equity. Indigbo has for too long, for way too long, they've been the laboratory for every one of Nigeria's mischiefs. If Nigeria is going to cure itself of its many injustices and mischiefs, it's a good place to start. Let them also be the president of this unjust monstrosity, and then let's together deal with the restructuring of that monstrosity. You cannot exclude them and continue to insist that they can't leave. How? How? On what basis are we talking about? In fact, look, that we're even having this discussion says a lot about Nigeria. You can't even, if chiefs can't even agree to obey the rules that they have set themselves, it's not like they would allow an Igbo man with the kind of ideas I have to come there, but at least let them find one that they can agree among themselves. But to be so blatant in telling a people that they do not belong in your coven of witches, but you insist that they must also not leave, doesn't stand to reason.
Now, I played that segment from that interview with Dele Farotimi by the Sahara reporters. I played it because it's really important to me when we talk about Nigeria and when we talk about fairness and moving forward, that we also start to emphasize to the younger generation, starting with the older youth today, and to continue teaching it downwards. It's important that we start de-emphasizing the things that divide us and start emphasizing the things that unite us. It's important that we start de-emphasizing tribe and start emphasizing right. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter if the wrong is done by an Igbo person. Me as an Igbo person should come out on with my bullhorn on my pulpit, which is this, and condemn the Igbo person for doing wrong. If an Igbo person and a Yoruba person and a Fulani person and a Do person, a Nupe person, Tiv person are put in front of me for a position that is critical in building our nation. I should be able, if the Igbo person is now qualified, to disqualify him while I go through the rest of them to find out who the qualified person is. My decisions on things that affect building our country should not have to do with whether somebody is Igbo or Yoruba. It doesn't matter. When our oppressors went to the Leki toll gate to shoot on our youth, they were not pointing the gun at Yoruba youth or Igbo youth or Edo youth or Fulani youth. They were pointing bullets to suppress and shut up a movement that is just, fair, and peaceful. I say that to say that my choice of Peter Obi in this election is not because of where he comes from. My choice of Peter Obi is that I've listened to him. I've seen his messages. I've seen what he did in the state where he was governor. And I've seen other candidates. Some of them have similar qualifications, but maybe not the experience he has. And I can't pick more than one to be president. So I picked Peter Obi, and I want to ride his coattail and do my part to help elect him the next president of Nigeria. Does it mean that there are not other candidates in the race that I'll vote for if Peter Obi wasn't running? Hell yes, there are a lot of them. Not a lot of them, a few of them. I've said this before in previous videos, and I'll say it again right now. Vice President Osinbajo, especially with his ideas about a new tribe, is one person that I really like his ideas. I know that even including me, I've had situations where I felt that he should have said something over the last 7 years to criticize what's going on in this administration. And I felt he did not say what he should have said. But I'm also Nigerian. And I also understand that when you are in Nigeria, even though we call it a democracy, we also know that it's dictators that are running the country and a cabal that is willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of you. And as a vice president who is a kinder, gentler soul, which I know that Osinbajo is, in giving him the benefit of the doubt, I know that there is a possibility that he's thinking about what could happen to him. And I don't mean his career, I mean his life, if he decides to bluntly criticize certain things. Back to Peter Obi, because I'll keep going back to Peter Obi. I think that we should all support who we want to support. I buy into what Dele Farotimi said about the sentiments. That is the reason that Peter Obi, or a qualified Igbo candidate, should be given a chance to be the president of Nigeria in 2023. But more importantly, I also think that me, in my little way, and everybody who supports Peter Obi in this coming election should minimize words that are inflammatory when we talk about other candidates. And we should also understand, because of the sentiments that exist in Nigeria, that it's incumbent on us, including our candidate, to travel all the zones in Nigeria and talk to the powers that be in those zones and calm their fears whatever their reasons are for being concerned and not being too sure if they want an Igbo man to be president, it's time to put your arm around people and say, there's nothing to be scared about. The war ended over 50 years ago. Zeke is dead. Okpara is dead. Ojukwu is dead. Awolowo is dead. Tafawa Balewa is dead. Ahmadu Bello is dead. Whatever sentiments guided their politics does not need to guide our politics. But regardless of all the things that we think divided Awolowo and Zeke, or Zeke and Ahmadu Bello, as the younger ones, we have better tools to make better judgments. Nigeria is a much more liberal place today than it was 60 years ago and 50 years ago and 40 years ago when those people had influence. The world is a global world. It's time to come into the new world. I live in America. I've never seen American policy being developed about Nigeria based on who is Yoruba, or who is Hausa, or who is Igbo, or who is Fulani. They talk about Nigerians. Folks, we gain as Nigerians, we lose as Nigerians. We have to take these tribal sentiments out of our judgment. What differentiates us from our grandfathers and our fathers who lived many years before us at a time when the world was a different place? On paper, we are more educated than they are. We can't make decisions based on their limited knowledge at a time when they were not as educated as we now are. What good is our education if we're still living the same tribalistic ways that our parents and our grandparents lived? That is the reason our country is so divided today. Folks, if Nigeria shatters and goes in shambles, we all lose. If Nigeria rebuilds and becomes the power that it's capable of doing, we all win, and our grandchildren will live in a better world than we're living. If what we hand them is the tribalistic world we've lived in up till now, if you think we have problems with tribalism, I feel sorry for our children and our grandchildren that are going to be here when the consequences of these tribalistic decisions we're making come to roost. That's all I have to say. And once again, I want to say thank you very much for all our listeners and all the people who view us. I'm very confident that if the last video did 10,000 views, that this video may do 20,000 views because you shared. Please don't stop sharing. Our views are growing, our likes are growing, our subscribers are lagging behind. Please view, please share, please like. Most of all, please subscribe. We really appreciate you. We appreciate everything you've done in the 7 months we've been in the air. We're optimistic because of you, and we're going to keep making sure that we bring you programming that makes sense. We're open to comments. We'll respond to some of them if we have time, but please don't stop viewing. We truly appreciate you.